집안은 인기 균친이 있는다. 대만인 밖에 남주인 다 소도 사고라. 아니 동대주 도나 아니 요마이 성기 개와카레 드바인 바이네요. 개와 드바가 많아. 담보슬로 세상마야고 땅 그놈 쥐네. 근데 개와는 저기 대한민국 기준이 말에. 근데 이마인데 다 원다 다 간내지 성어동 거 있으니까 맞아 개와 Hello.
Oi.
One ta nganzu kandisamu dangu gurisina. Ta gewa druba teso. When terang nganzu guchi between the chunti ni te bayin bayi yenaya. Ane te senji tanje kutong dang. Ane senji tanje sanje de koma toba ki. Guchi di chi to sama dang na tene nganzu gewa nanjo bayin bayi na. Tene nganzu gewa kare te sa bayin bayi na ya. Yendong na sama dang bayin bayi de te ane sancho 젠동도 저 참을 여래. 근데 안에 산재적 고마토가 치다. 안에 개만나. 근데면서 취. 진이다. 개와도인데 근데 다도 개와되게 이제 내가 팬맞잖아도 다도 안에 산재가 저를 되는 차가 여래. 근데 그런데 남자는 소기 하던 그네 대사적 지거인데 기침 거지 샤스. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Let's
Have a good day.
Go to Tsulnam.
Okay. So now, in the beginning, we need to think of our motivation for receiving and listening to these teachings. So if we take today's teachings, the teachings, and you listening and studying to the teachings, and think of the virtues of teaching and receiving the teachings today, then we should be engaging in these virtuous actions with a benefit, with a motivation, wishing to benefit sentient beings, and ultimately that we are practicing these virtuous actions in order to ultimately help them to attain Buddhahood. And for that purpose, we are then engaging in this practice. So then, in that way, because we have adjusted our motivation in the beginning to an altruistic motivation, then whatever virtues we are accumulating will not only become the causes of some kind of temporary benefit, but will ultimately become the causes of the attainment of Buddhahood. In the beginning, before we engage in any kind of virtuous activity, it's very important for us to be very careful about the motivation with which we engage in those activities. Thus, so generally, we can talk about virtues of body, speech, and mind. From the Mahayana, the main thing that will cause something to be virtuous or non-virtuous is the motivation with which we do those activities.
ane kare sheye yore gona ta shene da lantong ni siti de sheye yore ta lantong siti de nan kaza sonya gani je tuni goya de ane lantong siti de she de shene se de manzo ta nyamzu lenza ye gomza ye bare gomza biyo ane ta de nan kare de se de ta manzo ya chang de gomja ane de gom de shene ga ta ma ya ma song lantong ga ta ma ya ma song de ta lumati la nin dowa ke boyori so dinan ke kada lumatin te matin sumai bare te tuni shene lumatin se ne de no som se kaza de ma som yoris Hello.
Hello, Kinam.
Hello. Koso nada de.
Danda, na so the gig ship pick up the race.
Te lu te dan gon da kazan din ne ma
And
kse
they come, then you chase on the cup.
ya kse ma som som sero. Kare som ne kazan tumi se na da namje lang thong se te mare. Kene ani sene go gon. Wata te ni na so. Hello. Ani gomza ki yor gomyang ta wen maris. Kene te na ta kar daw de korn rosa de kare yor se ne lumati se. Wata te gom ki kosa e maris. Te ni je mai ne kazan te son de ma maris.
So yesterday we were talking, we reached the section on these kind of obstacles or possible mistakes that we could fall into in meditation. And there were three kind of stages, and those were discussing shamatha and vipassana, which are two objects of meditation. That vipassana or special insight being the meditation on emptiness, and shamatha being that calm abiding meditation. And those are our two things that we are to practice, the things that we are to take up. And one of the main obstacles in the practice of those is this neutrality or neutral state.
And
So that's the potential flaw.
Gombe rumbai mai na tambo shene gom. Tati shene te ki ni samba neba de do. Te samba neba de do. Ta yang san neba chamba samji. Anzo ne de danze da nyomo go punya tang ni thaba de sanji te komang ro tho. Teni indu ane rumbai ni la ni ba de lam thong ane dami to shira. O ta tumi ta te gonya res.
So if we talk about the stages of meditation, then first we would normally practice shamatha, and with shamatha we will be able to accomplish that abiding state, or the ability to remain on an object. But just that state of abiding, by just that state of abiding, we won't be able to eliminate our afflictive emotions or our self-grasping mind, nor will we be able to attain liberation or the state of Buddhahood. So then, second is the superior insight of vipassana that we'll meditate on, which is the meditation on selflessness and emptiness.
Tindri goma ga kala, ane cham gomki ka cheshite, ne nanzo ji ne lumatin korba ka nyaka yores. Ta lumatin se de kazan ane ta muso ane shene ta ma kanyang no ma goyang mai ba. Tane yang ta gom jab de ba ne kabla ane ta suru ki number ra kwa. Namdo rakwa tindi ene control ka toba maji nayang ane sande ta yeng na yeng suma yen na te yengwa te so so ka machorwa se na tindi longma tin sina ta tindi gomba ne kam ne jongli ta te na so ka pango gre tindi suma yimare.
So then, sometimes when we're meditating on shamatha and vipassana, one of the biggest obstacles we can encounter is this state of neutrality. So what we mean by that state of neutrality is a state which is neither shamatha or vipassana, and it is that although we're not having coarse, mistaken concepts or conceptual thoughts, we're still having a level of distraction that we don't even notice, and that is the state of neutrality that we need to abandon.
Namje 나는 다 루마틴스디 게와가 또와탄 마게와 또와탄 게 마게 강연 많이 바기 되는 나도 되는 루마틴스 쟁조가 이러라 다 되는 디나네 루마틴스디 가를 세요스 오면 많이 바 전 트로바 나도야 많이 바 아니 지 되니 강연 많이 바 what 되는 루마틴스 what 되니 있으면 대만 소지 연 잡잡세 마제베 임바이나 아직 검잡대바 근네깔라 아니지 마무지 대만 소 로데 고야마이 아니지 되니 트로바가 남도야 마이 바그 로마티나 고와가니 카이르스.
So ordinarily when we talk about what is neutrality, it's a state which is neither virtuous nor non-virtuous. It is a neutral state which is neither of those two. But here, when we're talking about neutrality in context of meditation, what we mean that it is neither a state of meditation nor is it a state of coarse conceptual mind. So it's neither of those two. And if we're not careful about that, then many times that we're meditating, we can fall into this state which is neither actually thinking nor is it pure meditation. So this is a possible pitfall or mistake that we can fall into in meditation.
That 전체지 낙통성은 롱로 살아왔다 대주 또 용걸 소지 설 순간에 당한도 진년자 샤라 검자대바 깔라 아니 참참서 아니 다 공디시바 롱마티 어때 때문에 고르바케니 카이어데스 다 가시 아니 텐데 롱마티 소마이바이나 다 간도 거리스나 담보 롱마티 임바 모시바게 욕다나 데네데 저거 텔런동 손에 저거 텔라 아 템바게 사차지 아니 공부 먹나 때라 잼바기 스타트지 근데 다다던데 루당 아니 그 선도소야 단차 선거 사차도소야 아니 란도 펄네 근데 양 삼선은 안서 정말 니 쿠번도 당 아니 그 성화단 터바스는 마 딘지 성용 막 내깔라 근데 양지 다 gondet나 야 근데 양때서 야랑 아저 창창정도 근데 공장나 저거 양은 아니 그 룸으로 살아왔다 아니 저 너무 단 돈은 아니 저거야 당화다 저거야 사자용아 어다 진짜 탈지세는 마 아니 저 로마티다 터바다 성화가 차도 선네 근데 아니 실하가 뭐는 어다 뒤 템바 기타는 아니 야 냐면 좋고 여를 Hello. 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 세원 주다. 저저야 뭐지죠? 네.
Hello.
다다도 고정지.
나 네팔 뭐
라스 페이지나.
예. 나 야나 야랑네 참참로야 양메나
곰도 마 곰도 참지야. 인터넷에 마고 좀 맞에. 저거 살보다. 아니 담보메. 곰 여보도 마찬나. 근데 뭐 제대 곰도 참지야. 야랑 아니 제 참잔로 당 사고란로 넘번도야 롱로사야 단도는 아니 시바대야 담보 싸고 차야 뭐다 되는 거 그래.
That's it. So sometimes when we're practicing meditation, Hello?
Hello, Tsulnam.
Okay. So sometimes when we're practicing meditation on shamatha and vipassana, there is a possibility or danger that we will fall into the state of neutrality. And if it does happen, what we need to do is first we need to be able to recognize that state of neutrality and that that's happening to us. And once we have been able to recognize that, then we need to bring back that state of clarity to our awareness. As it says in the text here, during meditation, if a state of neutrality occurs, single it out, that is, tighten up the mindful awareness. When the dark torpor sets in, clear out the stale breath and wake up by chanting, shouting, swaying, and so on. So we need to bring back that clarity to our awareness. And if in our practice, if we're unable to do that, if we're feeling sleepy and dull and we're unable to bring back that awareness, sometimes it's a good idea just to stop your session of meditation, get up, go for a walk, do some circumambulation, do some prostrations, clear stale breaths, do some rosaries, do whatever you can to bring back that awareness. Less.
ram shedan to ba lanam charabache dembar ta chen zumi jabana phenu me ba ransa tere ya tele yin da ram zumi shi mi zumi man da lanam charabate namba shedan mo yi shi yin shedan ya di tongdang chom mu tong ye meng mi de song ju se do je sam so ja de yin no nyu mong do cha so la yang rong de char ta ti chi chawa de ma cha ji lo chen.
When angry thoughts arise vividly, if you look at them nakedly and rest without fabrication, they will vanish on their own ground without harm or benefit. Self-arising wisdom is none other than that. That vivid arising within a state of non-fabrication takes the form of anger, but is essentially pristine wisdom. In the wake of the vanishing anger, the radiance of emptiness need not be pursued. That emptiness, without frame of reference, is what's called unity, as are Vajrasattva and the others. Apply this also to the afflictive emotions such as desire and so on. Let's.
Today, namje ngan so ani nyom ba tonga la so ba che yong ba kapsa te land chen ani ti yi sanje ke thugyu le ju ba ke yi ma tang ani che devi ji ba rak kan ko mo la land che so te ni so yin ba de.
So normally when we give rise, when some afflictive emotion arises, there's a way of taking those on the path and that recognizing that their nature is the nature of the 5 wisdoms and the 5 Buddha families.
The Shedang what the land Kergod is in that Shedang Jin, the Shedang, the Toba de Koranga Padam, and it's in the Gadam Mazo say. This Shedang Toba is round Mola, then it's Zopudam, Gado Kayan, Mazeba, taking Manga and the Navajago Grace.
So, for example, if we get angry, if we have a thought of anger, then how are we to take that on the path? Anger is not to be stopped. It's not to be affirmed or negated. But we are to look directly at the nature of anger without any kind of fabrication, establishment, or negation, and just meditate in that state of seeing the nature of anger itself.
Then the Shedang Toba take mola on it. Then the Ranjin and Yamba Jat by Mayena. Then Shedang the Toba take more day and it that's Sanji 투줄을 주대버기 뜻다든지 이싱하거나네 멜론이 시임바래 근데 산제기 꼭 나거나네 대화를 나거나네 다 놀리스마고 뭐 왔다 된지 세 차도에 말이 된지인데 근데 세담 그 또바텔라 아니 빠니 메제바세 뒤 몰라 아니 소소 람르고 이시티 때네 되는 마주바 조주다 아니 제주 가이 많이 번냐바자네 근데 뒤 왕나네 야 도타고 여레스
So then, when we're looking at that nature or essence of anger, then we are to rest in meditative equipoise in that very nature. And the essence of anger is among the five wisdoms of the Buddhas. It is the primordial, the mirror-like wisdom. And of the five Buddha families, it is Vajrasattva. So we're not to abandon this thought of anger. We are to look at the wisdom essence of anger without any fabrication or alteration. And if we're able to meditate in that state without fabrication, then we're able to liberate the thought of anger.
아니 녀만 것도 가는 게 뭐이마이나야. 근데 이제 님부진다. 아니 코랑가 관사서. 아니 코랑가 뭐라. 근데네 따다단데. 때는 아니 이제 제주 맞아 봐라왔다. 나도 코랑가 뭐라 냐바 잡아이마이나. 근데 녀몽바 동아보다 드러나 동아가 뭐 따다단데 이시마스나. 아니 녀몽바 더자 뭐 소도 이시 또뭐그 뭐 주인 이시 맞아가 뭐 년이 이시 아니 차도가 뭐 사별 이시 되다 이시마다 아니 그 산지기 꼬마가 나네 다른데 전화가 타고 다른데 산지로 밤에 되네 아니 또뭐 넘버 타고 넘버 난제 되네 따따다 선나 넘버 타고 산지 레진 중에 차도 넘버 타고 아니 산지 돈이 줘봐 뭐다 된지 세나니 람드 채널 돌고 요리 소마리 따테 가레르스나 뇽몽바 도마고 코란 모시바이바이나 아니 코란 거라니데 꼬마다 아니 이시마데 차도요 말이야 따따다 나는조 저 수르지고 가가 뭐 마시인데 전에 아니 도마보데 아니 뇽몽 도마 타마르카 근데 디 당글레선 나는조 지 도마 소소그 제 뇽몽 그 도마지야 당 아니 뇽몽바 때는 마게월레사고 what the new joy is.
Najogi Yishi de Karela.
Nyami Ishiro.
Nyami, oh yeah. Any Sanjay
Najar ki number tapate tadande Sanjay Jinjune.
That's so, and we can apply this similarly to the other afflictive emotions. So we did anger. We also have attachment, ignorance, jealousy, and pride. So what we're to do then is to just, whatever affliction arises, we don't work with a separate antidote or a different antidote. We don't hold these afflictions to be something that we need to get rid of or abandon. But we simply look at their essence without any alteration or fabrication. And if we can do that, then we can transform or purify these five afflictions, liberate them into the five wisdoms. So the wisdom of attachment is the wisdom of individual realization, or the wisdom of, I forget the translation in English, but it's realizing each individual thing. And the Buddha of that is Buddha Amitabha. And then for ignorance, the Buddha is Nambar Namze. I'm not thinking of the Sanskrit names of these Buddhas right now, I'm sorry. And the wisdom is the wisdom of the basic space. And the Buddha of the purified pride is Amoghasiddhi, Ratnasambhava. And the wisdom then is the wisdom of equanimity. And the Buddha, the wisdom, of jealousy is the all-accomplishing or action-accomplishing wisdom, and the Buddha is Amoghasiddhi. So the purified forms of these 5 afflictions are the 5 Buddhas of the 5 families and the 5 wisdoms. And when we, in our ordinary state as ordinary people, when we do not recognize the wisdom aspect of those, we take them as ordinary afflictions, and with those ordinary afflictions, we accumulate karma. So relying upon, or because of our seeing afflictions as ordinary or engaging them as ordinary afflictions, that's why we are accumulating karma because of those afflictions.
남준 초과가 좋다 나서 이제 용문과 자다 문선라서 버기 아니 저 남도도 용문 가래 제 용문이 말이네요. 아니 그 용문 그 예왕도 마저로세나 용문 버때라 니부티 사다 제나지 그 람드 첸나 그 용문 버때서 이시가 들어와 있나? 근데 소견의 용문은 가대죠. 아니 용문 버때 소소듯이 용문 그만다 동아찌 못 하고세. 아니 대장 맞아요. 봐 용문 같아서 이제 공기 이식이 이제 되게 좋아. 냐네야 차다봐. 어떤 이제 뭐 해야 돼. 이제 이메인데 하나서 되게 동작도 되네 냐네세. 이제 나는 이제 남진 소화가 돌았다. 용문과 가르치 쉽게 이제 영화 이메이나 어떤 일 남셔 타나 대야고 이거 말이지.
So first, then, we need to understand the key points of meditation. And then once we know those key points of meditation, we need to train ourselves in meditation. And if we can do that, then in our ordinary day-to-day lives, then whatever type of affliction or negative emotion will arise, then we won't fall under the power of that emotion. We'll be able to rely upon these antidotes or take them on the path and liberate them into primordial wisdom. And from one side, what we're able to do then is we're able to challenge those emotions and not allow them to give rise to subsequent sufferings. And from the other side, what we're doing is we're actually liberating those thoughts into primordial wisdom and making that an actual practice, using the affliction as practice. So we need to study these key points and then put them into practice. And if we can put them into practice, then but after putting them into practice, if we can apply them and take these emotions on the path in our day-to-day lives, then that's really great. Let's.
Yanda tong gonza gonzimi temba chibu chong nyangin zen pato tong temba nyeja tenji yang stasa yishi ju ushen te meyan yawaji choba se se nyembo ni tensia dana pokwa namje juyo
In the completely perfect sense, there is no meditation and nothing to meditate on. When mindfulness alone is enough, it is the peak of practice. In the ultimate sense, even mindfulness itself does not exist. When the basis of mindfulness is absorbed in the basic space, we speak of wisdom. As when fuel is used up, the fire is also extinguished. When delusion is used up, the remedy itself is eliminated. This is the sphere of activity of all noble ones.
다 가서 공부 송만 나이기 내로 공부 많이 공부인 송도 왔대 무슨 또가 공연이요 말대 얘는 공주요 다 공부한테 강나 띄는 거는 다 잼바 띄는 거거든 송바지 다 잼바스도 다대 아니 지 생지 내로그나마 냐버자인데 대망나 템바테 그 마양 바세 대망나한테 마지 바게 아니 디 템바게 년tin 되는 거 공부 요리스 다디는 타토바가 공안이 지 타토음바 임바인데 되네 디 템바테 양tin 거요 말이스 말이 배나 매 바바가 깔라 다무 부신데 거한도 다 부신 라서 부신 대네 말처럼 가고 다 매진 띵 거요 말이스 말이 되네 타토 다 템바양 그거 말이스 어때 파워 산제 남지 주요리스 뭐 되네 소 많이 말이
So, in the perfect sense, in the ultimate sense, then there is no thought that is taken as an object of meditation. In that basic space of reality, there is no thought to be meditated on. There's no object of meditation. And if there's no thought which is the object of our meditation, then what is meditation? What are we meditating on? What is meditation? So, like we said before, meditation is not primary. Familiarity or habituation is primary. So what we need then is just this basic awareness. So what meditation is then is when we're meditating on this nature of mind, we need to just have this continuity of awareness which is not distracted from that nature of mind. And in the ultimate sense, when meditation reaches its ultimate conclusion or its final point, then we no longer even have to rely upon this mindfulness or awareness. And just like when you're starting a fire, in the beginning, when you start a fire, you need firewood to get the fire started. And once that has concluded, then it no longer relies, we no longer need that fuel for the fire. So, so in the ultimate sense, we no longer even need to rely upon mindfulness.
gom te ta sam ngo la ta nya ba ja yong ba de la bi mo ba ta ma ji ba cha ta tem ba se de de ro cha dang ang so chi je ba me ba ka ta da ye na de ane de tong na ane de la mo ba ji la ma yang ba ki ane je gom ki ta sam mo chong ane je sam ngo la nya ba ja ta de la ta ne ane ma yang ba cha de ne tem ba ge juen ti na ne ma gom ja ya mo ta de go de te ma do gom se na 무슨 말도 저 상황당 근데 저들이 뭐고 저 뭐예요 말이지 얘나 안에 레 담보 그 까나 지 제마다 하게 그 정보인 말이야 딱 가대 아니 저 제마다 라송아 이 말이나 근데 양 로마티나 소바기 근데 공격을 뭐다 되는 좀 요리스 코사도 아니 레비나.
So normally what we're talking about when we talk about this state of mindfulness is just that mere aspect of non-distraction or non-forgetting. So meditation then is just not forgetting, not being distracted from that nature of mind, that equipoise in the nature of mind. So when we're sustaining that recognition of the nature of mind, then this mindfulness is just not falling out of that continuity of recognition or equipoise in that nature of mind. And otherwise, then there's no other meditation. There's no meditation that we need to think about something or focus on some separate object. But for a beginner, in general, for a beginner, this aspect of mindfulness is extremely important. And if you lose that mindfulness, then there's the danger of falling into those obstacles of meditation, such as neutrality that we discussed before.
Gomba mai magom payang me gomba mende te kayang me magom mende yan sa tawa me chuni ram chi sam te to Jo telo lo ye samza yemi de tanda lo de mumi imbeso namdo yortan rendi majena maju sayan turba do mata tan kin nan ta tai rangsha randro sayan injeni nimbo min na rangsha randro yin cheta tenis yore.
It's not meditation, nor is it non-meditation. Not being meditation, there is nothing at all to focus on, and not being non-meditation, there can be no distraction. Simply place the mind on the bare apprehension of the nature of reality. This is not a thought object of the rational mind, because the absolute is beyond intellect and without reference point. If the intimate connection between thought and object is not severed, although you call it uncontrived, it cannot reverse delusion. Severing the inner perceiver and external object may be called self-arising, self-liberating, but it is still duality. When there is no antidote, it is self-arising, self-liberating.
무슨 다 고마 텐디야 가야요 말스 가르스나니 텔류 로게야 나노 그 제는 걸 하고만 인도 땅 니티 요르선지는 뭐 삼바다 닝게 곰데바나지 아니 텐디 무대지 고면 요 말이 숨말이 양 곰시디 딱제 뭐 곰베세는 나노 그 타마르 나노 남주기 아니 이행송만나지 텐디야 많이 버리시 나노 가르스나 딱 생분내로 때는 냠바지야 용바 대나 마행 버짱 그 덴바게 연종 거도가 대는데다 곰바야 마이 먹om바야 마이 어떻게 네 그때 하고는 나도 곰을 펴보여요.
So, when we're meditating on this profound emptiness of the nature of mind, this is not meditation. So, what I mean by that is it's not like meditations of creation stage where we have some object, like we're creating or generating that yidam deity, or another kind of meditation which uses the focal object, like meditating on love or compassion. So that's why it's called non-meditation, or it's not meditation. And then when it says it is, nor is it non-meditation, what it means then is it's not like an ordinary person's like non-meditative, just normal state of distracted mind. Because the meditation on that nature of mind is that maintaining continuity of awareness of the nature of mind without distraction. So that's why it's said to be not meditation nor non-meditation. So if we can get this, if we can start to understand this point, it's really good.
아니 semgi 다 주요는 대대버지 이 말에 근데 이마인데 다 안에 konnasan jeba ke yolen de ba ima inde tene ni de lu mo bala so ba gomba ki ta ane juyo chayo ma ni tende de ima inde tene ane so so ran ru bi shiti ne ta ne lo de la ane ke ma ju ba ma nya ba ja kwa ma do ba ki tene ane de muso ta gomza gomzi ki ina ki ndo to ba ka ya gomza yo ma ris mote so yo ris.
So, what we're meditating on is this ultimate true nature. And that ultimate true nature is not an object of ordinary mind, nor is it something that can be expressed by our speech. It is not the object of speech, ordinary mind, or intellect. So if that object then is inexpressible, unspeakable, unthinkable, then it will not become the object of meditation of ordinary mind. It will not become a dualistic object, but is only the object of our self-cognizing primordial wisdom. So the meditation then is just this self-cognizing primordial wisdom resting without fabrication. But it is not a dualistic meditation where you have a meditator and an object of meditation.
Yeah, ane gom sayate, ane London nasam jumidi sayende. Yeah, ane je gojo thojo me bando, ane na je samoka, yante jenjo me bando, ma na thome ne samai mai na, Tate tari kaungi shewa ka lungmati, ane tela kono we, tindiyan imba mari. Ane jis, nelo tongtaba teni soso rangrupa ishi ka choyo imba ke. Di ane soso rangrupa ishi di, ane je ngondu choba ki gonga mokwa tela, tane tenpa teni ane, ma tenpa ki mayan basan, ane di yun chong na, tane ane ta ma gongo res. Teni ko nindawo de lo tana. 소체는 내로되는 남소들 지금 하산 주바 똑바게 열는데 봐 인데 이제 림모 받아 짐바 참아마 셰는 건거 그래서 양은 이제 림모 받은 짐바 셰고 그래서 이제 제양 나눠서 고주 초점에 반도 많이 그 대반나지 근데 차수만 이마 있나 다 남보고 제 대해요 말이 제 소리요 말이 돼요 건거 작음도 내 로마대 차 근데 이제 그 가면 당고 안에 이제 소소랑 그 이시대기 아니 이제 냐야대 아니 냠순용부터 같이 근데 대려양 아니 이제 덴바기 주는 띠나 아니 이제 강도문나대 마지바 근데 이제 영화매 봐 아니 디 내로대 마 준종나 아니 덴바된 강고 그래서
So when we talk about meditation, then we say it's beyond mind, it's inexpressible, it's unthinkable. But when we say that, you shouldn't think that it's just absolute nothing, that it's like something that's like this state of unawareness or unmindfulness, a spaced out state where you hear nothing and see nothing. That is what we discussed before. That is that state of neutrality. So what we're doing is maintaining that state of undistracted awareness on that self-cognizing primordial wisdom, which is the ultimate truth, ultimate reality, and we're just sustaining that undistracted mindfulness, awareness of that object, which is its own self-cognizing wisdom. So we've got kind of two sides to this. We say that the true nature is inexpressible, unthinkable, beyond mind. It is the extermination of a focal object and grasping at an object in duality. But when we think, oh, we have to eliminate objects, or we have to cut through grasping or cut off grasping, then if we become spaced out and just totally unaware, then that's not meditation. That is that state of neutrality. So first, what we need to do then is we need to gain some experience of that meditation on that self-cognizing primordial wisdom, on that nature of mind, and then we need to be able to rely upon our continuity of mindfulness in order to sustain that recognition without distraction, without forgetting the object of our meditation, which is that nature of mind. That's
rang seni mal nawa bo chole chobor dorji sembale nawa shale nimi roshina na se maga teji telasa konde zang to ta ma to kan palang ni yezo yedong jor tagam teba tanje telen de sungse tanje namje dendu ge desa zoki ade yoga ma song ma tanje ge songsa mebe tanje le zongdan zimba targe sawai tanje sanzu zokwe jibote lami tel zokwe lenge zo de son dialog ma tatoko son tenisong bai mare techi ma song jan.
One's very own mind is the child appearing to the mother. Like bubbles rising out of water, appearances arise out of attachment, and yet if you know that it is the play of non-duality, then this is what is meant by appearance and mind being the meeting of mother and child. You won't find acceptance or rejection of cyclic existence and transcendence, good and bad, realized and unrealized, emptiness and completion were always present. All view, meditation, and action is included in that, and since all commitments to preserve are also included in that, the Dzogchen Ati Yoga teaches 4 commitments to preserve that are kept by not preserving. Being without interruption in preservation is the commitment of non-existence. Being free of duality is evenness. Everything being fixed in mind is singularity. and this completion in itself, without anything else, is spontaneously perfect. This is the ultimate intention of the victorious ones of the three times. So we have a dualistic mind. We have our mind, and then we have things that appear to our mind as in a dualistic way. So we have a subject-object duality, and we engage that subject-object duality with a grasping at the truth of that, and that's how we end up wandering in samsara. But truly, what's happening is that all of these appearances of samsara nirvana, whatever appears to us externally, is actually just the play or the display of our mind, which appears as external objects. So that's why it said here that it's like the child and mother. So what it means then is like the mind itself is like the mother, and the appearances that we see as external object are like the children. Sometimes another example that's given for this is the ocean and the waves. So there are no waves which are separate from the ocean itself. So the ocean is then like our mind, and the waves are like the display of mind, that being the appearances, the external appearances. So the external appearances are mind itself appearing as an external object. So we say that then those appearances are the display or the play of mind. Let's
안에 당목은 니남도서 가능성이 생성으로 봐. 나는 서로 그 여러 남도 가리대 이마에는 생시하게. 다 가와로 그래서는 야 상은 가와로. 대 아니 니남도 또 가리대 이마에는 야 이제 생절 아니니 봐. 어째 대시 더 봐 이마에는 안에 당목 대시 때는 이제 생용모 아니 이제 생전에도 동반이 이마도 시에요나. 되는 니남도 주대다 단지 아니 이제 생용모스는 아니 이제 생전에도 또 서모 동반이 레 차로에 데리베 차토바 이마이나 딱 나와 같이 샤와이 마이나 대장경 나는 소라니 이제 내기 다 생근내로 사제 전부다 조과 전부다 아니 다 동이가 따와서 소바기 아니 이제 조차서다 된지가 따와 싸로 멍보지 나는 소더니 야말 란드 챘나 아니 되네 그냥 도여레 어떤 내가로 될 수 없는
So the fearless Khenpo has said that the nature of mind itself is the Dharmakaya, and as well the appearances of that mind itself are Dharmakaya. So ordinarily we grasp at subject and object, mind and its appearances, as separate. We have this dualistic distinction separating into self and other, subject and object, and so on. But that's not actually the true nature. Whatever is appearing as an object of mind, is appearing from mind itself. And the true nature of mind itself is Dharmakaya. It is that pure nature of Dharmakaya which is inseparable from the mind of the Buddhas. And whatever appearances appear then are the appearances of mind itself. So that is the appearance of the nature of mind. So it is an appearance of Dharmakaya. So if we are able to recognize that, then we'll know that the nature of those appearances is the nature of mind, and they will be liberated into emptiness, liberated into Dharmakaya. So in the Dharma language, in philosophical terminology of Buddhism, we talk about destroying dualistic appearance, the end of dualistic appearance, the fading away of dualistic appearance. So there are many ways of talking about that. And here, we're talking about the taking that appearance as the path. And if we're able to do that, then that's really good, because a lot of times what happens is we're meditating on mind in our meditation periods, but then when we have all these various types of things appearing to mind outside of our meditation, then we're not able to take them as practice, and we're unable to eliminate our confusion or mistakenness in reference to those external appearances. So Jetsun Milarepa also has said that where do dualistic appearances come from? They come from mind. And finally, where do they return to? Where do they cease? They cease in mind. So what that means is that they are all of the nature of mind. And that nature itself is emptiness. So then, if we understand that and can put that into practice, then however many things appear to mind, to that level, we will gain more and more helpers, more and more chances for practice in our practice of Mahamudra or great perfection.
저는 딱 니는 그 취대다 단지 안에 더 사모토만이 생각한다. 아니 내 생각내로 뭐다 띵난다 안에 람데 체시바 이마이나 다네 아니 저 따와 곰바 쥐바세나야 아니 띵나는 데데요데 가르세나 다 따자양 따와양 데려와 다 주단데 동반이 그 니는 인생의 취탄제 아니 다 사모토만이 또 도바이 이마이나 때 따와야 이마데스 다네 남녀 곰자도양 띵나는 냐브라자야다 곰양데 이마데스 다 쥐바 남녀 나은조 그 지금 소화가 투가 아니 지금 냠수 렌사양 어떤 니난 그 취가에 되는 좀 차와이 마이네야 아니 디 뭐 아니 뭐시바 그거네 다 연도 경험돼서 되는지 람드 챕터 바이 마이나 따봉 죄송이 되는지 다네 다네 조친라서 가면 다 당초 이해서 되는 그 정도 근데 참아 돈이 그 따와던 저바이 말에 아니 어때는 되려 가지고 되니 두손 3년 남지 아니 이제 공부 토끼 도전 탈도 봐야만 되는 말이 있어 어떤 되는 말이야.
So all of our dualistic phenomena, dualistic appearances, are profound emptiness. And if we're able to take them on the path as that recognition of their nature of mind, recognizing the nature of those appearances as being this empty nature of mind, then all view, meditation, and action are contained within that practice of recognition. So just the view itself is the view of all phenomena being that emptiness and that nature of the nature of mind of profound emptiness. And meditation then is having that equipoise and undistractedness in that state of emptiness. And then our conduct then, so we were talking of this practice containing all of view meditation and conduct. The conduct then is in our day-to-day lives that we are able to recognize the essence of whatever appearances come to mind in our day-to-day lives. So then also these 4 commitments that are discussed here in terms of the Great Perfection are also directly connected to this view of emptiness. And this emptiness, this nature of mind that we've been discussing here is the ultimate object of realization of all Buddhas of the 3 times.
예상 제바 라 양상 자와스는 다 들리 예 추게도 이바이 말에 다때 고원는 사고이 말에 가르치는 마음속에 선 때 아니 당본에 그런 그 내로 저는 저거 랑종 이시 근데 얘는 산제가 랑진데 시키는 소리예요 선분내로 다 얘는 아니 이제 대뭐 맛이인데 근데 말을 봐서는 항상 말을 봐서 되는 왜다 대 말을 봐 많다고 말을 봐 근데 말을 봐서 근데 이제 때문에 중이서 많더서 많이 말을 다 말은 저는 이제 투상 건설라서 받치도 로장세 냥내세나 근데 다 선분내로 때 하고 와서 대 공점이 뭐인데 근데 말은 저 뒤에 몇 ram종이 선분내로 때 근데 라리양 담보 코랑 가래여가 나지 대 하고는 대 또는 대 담보 하고 근데 이제 냥내세나 대 또가도 열을 제와 이마이나 다 양상제가 되는 거죠. 다 다른 말서 뇽몽바 빛난다나 배는 뇽몽바 또 나온다고 이제 이마이나 단 동하고 또가 가래적게 이마이나야 대 또하고 코랑 그 라지 대 되는 두께하게 만들어 고치 해당 그 라지 당 더샤 그 라지 또뭐 그 라지 차도 당 낮아 되는 그 라지를요. 그런 거 뭐데 산재기 두개도 욕되고 기 근데 이심아 그 라지는 이심아다 아니 산재 그 거대 이식을 라지는 거. 다 얘는 나는 저거 대 맛이 있는데 더 차도 시 더 차도 좀데 되는 더 차기 소소니 때 선래서 말한 거 아니 그 선도 동안 나서 받지 유몽 나서 받지요. 근데 아니 뒤다 먹을래 소박이 딱 강하다 녀라 마무지 듣는 비서 딱그 담고 임바 대 모지 시송아 임바이나 근데 다 너자 너지 임바이나 대 모두 소도 이시는 다 산재기 이시 근데 산재와 마음이가 뭐다 되는 차도 여기서 근데 다 다다든 애들 가르성이 여기서나 나도 남주기 출발가 나와 가래 그 혈용와 임바이나야 아니 대 혈용기 선리 선도 로스 출발가 나와요 말이지. 다 아니 선도 가르치나 다 선도 예상 제반아지. 당 아니 이제 선도 이식을 아니 뭐인데 아니 이제 대모시바이 모시송바이 뭐이나 되네 아니 이제 출발가 나와 나서바 대야 이제 답과 거든 이시 아니 이제 대 출발가 나와 돼서 선근내로 아니 이제 출발가 나와 돼서 아니 이제 성동반이 그러지 되는 말이지. 되는 게 뭐시 더 많이 봐야나. 되네 아니 이제 주의공 예지지도 뉴문도 근데 참아 되다 나는 느려요리지. 어떤데 되는 거지 소매는 말이야.
So in the Great Perfection, they say that you are again enlightening that which was primordially enlightened. That's a saying in the Dzogchen teachings. So what is the original nature of mind is that it is the self-cognizing, self-arising primordial wisdom. That primordial state of Buddhahood is the ordinary original nature of your mind. But when we don't recognize that, when we don't see that, then we have this ignorance or this not seeing, not recognition. And from that ignorance, then we begin the process of the 12 links of dependent origination, which send us into this mistakenness of samsara. And then, through our practice of hearing, contemplation, and meditation on the Dharma, then we can understand what is that true nature, and we can meditate upon that, and then we can attain realization of that self-cognizing primordial wisdom. So what we're doing then is actually realizing that which we already had primordially. And then that is when we are again enlightened into that state of primordial enlightenment. So whatever of the 5 poisons arise, we should know that the nature of those 5 poisons is not bad. It is not the nature of anger is not anger. It is the nature of Buddhahood. And the nature of the 5 poisons is the nature of these 5 Buddha wisdoms and of the 5 Buddha bodies. But if we don't know that, if we don't recognize that, and we take, for example, ordinary attachment, and we take attachment as attachment, then as a result of that, we can create many problems for ourselves. We can create many difficulties and generate other afflictions and generate lots of different negative karmas and other difficult situations. But if we know what that was from the very beginning, then we'll know that attachment itself is that all-knowing wisdom and is the nature of Buddha Amitabha. So ordinarily, whatever appears to us, whatever type of mistaken appearances appear, that which is causing the appearance, that which is the basis of the appearance, is mind itself. And what is that mind? That mind is primordial Buddhahood. It is the primordial wisdom of the Buddhas, and if we can recognize that, then also these appearances themselves, because they are of appearances of mind, they are also the pure appearance of the wisdom and Buddha bodies. They are inseparable from that nature of mind and profound emptiness. And if we're able to have that recognition, then this is the essence, the ultimate essence of all the 84,000 teachings of the Buddha.
야 가시기 아니 맞다를 해서 뭔가인데 다 심지세야 돼 아니 담보는 맞아마 두께리 세야 두과그라이리 세야 되니도 그때 주로서로 공부를 했다 맞아 그때 두께리 쉐쉐요 말로 다 얘는 나서 넘버 산지바가 가르쳐는 요즘은 생지 때다 얘는 아니 이제 다과리지 짜마리지 산지그라이리지 되는소리요 생지는 산지니 다 얘는야 어느 따다 가르치는 안소 지대 안에 콜 안에 이제 용문과다 안에 이제 되네 다 감동 콜과 동안용도 해주시나 안에 생기는 산지니 언제 로를 때문에 세야다 다 되네로 말을 받자마그 되네 되네 소소 산지니 막 몸마시나 되네 마음 콜과 초스마리 또 어느 나라도 야 상계거나 가르거리시는 다 산재 살아왔지 로고예요 말이지. 나도 그 생긴 그 라인데 산재를 찾아요. 또 들리면 이제 다 모시고 있어. 나도 소소 산재인 막 모시. 안에 다 truba lower the drop to mapa. And so yen you the bag you did the young wound to but the ninja go days, they are there's so Namjin, number to so Hakodo. Then it's in this number carries in best. Tambon is San then a Sanjay at the end, it is Sanjedan. And then Nyaba. Sanjay Tamjay the jail and is Sanjay the Yundi. Sanjay Tibak and Nuba. And this Sanjay the sound. Sama Yudis. Sambada, Zevada, and this Sanjay Shirapta. And this Sanjay things good and Yishika Yundi. That Sanjay Tamjay jail Raches years. They do not over the Jeba. And if you tell it, Bezo Seba in answer to Sanjay Tobaki Chatino, Juchando, this and the Sama Yudis, Jur Sound. Lam and Bezo Seba in Mayna. What a Tinisona.
So some religious traditions, in their explanation of their religion, say that sentient beings are primordially bad, that they're primordially impure, dirty. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't say that their traditions are bad. I'm just showing a distinction that in Buddhahood or in Buddhism, we say that sentient beings are primordially clean, they're pure, they are Buddha. So there's this quote from a text that says, sentient beings are the actual Buddha. Well, if we're actual Buddha, then how is it that we're mistaken? Why is it that we're wandering in samsara? Why is it that we're experiencing the sufferings of the three realms? So the second line of that text says, although we are obscured by these temporary stains. So what happens is because we have these temporary stains, those are coming from that non-recognition of our own primordial Buddhahood. And through that non-recognition, we have this mistakenness and confusion, which is the obscuration to our own Buddhahood. So if we want to attain Buddhahood, what do we need to do? Well, we don't need to accomplish some new Buddhahood. What we need to do is recognize that Buddhahood that we already have, and each individual needs to recognize their own Buddhahood. So we need to clear away those temporary stains and recognize the primordial qualities, recognize and make manifest those primordial qualities that we already have. So this is something that all Buddhists need to know, that sentient beings have all of this potential of Buddhahood. They have the qualities of love, compassion, wisdom, the qualities of the Buddha bodies and wisdoms of the Buddha all are part of the fabric of sentient beings. So we all have that substance, that fabric, and if we make efforts, we can accomplish that.
Nyami Tawur Muji, the Songshavati Tabu Tadina, that day, and Pache, also Pukanji with John Lamran Tomato in the day. Then Nyami Tawur Muji, the Lamrumbatama, the Songshavati, Lamran, the education of the Kambote song you today. That thing on it, Lamran Toma Kari song you in the Judation Nimbu, said the Nip song, Cindy Tangi, the Dashing Nimbu, said Kambote song. That Lamb Toma del Kares and the Dashing Nimbu song Shabarisina, or that Tamungan to this Sanjay the Copan to drop over in Bayana, that Mark dropped over the ways, Mark and Jogger ways. Nothing drop the top category is some of the there's some of the Tambo so that you Povaji and Dotan, so the Mata Bando, Hako, Sanjay Tanjay to do the Judation Nimbusina, and this Sanjay the sound. And this Sanjay the Copan over the Sanjay getting Chimba, Zewatan. And then Nubaki, you did the so Sanjay could do the Raches or you, somebody, Tambote on Soba in Bayina, or Tang, Lam and Bezor Sena. Another only is Sambata, Ninja, Shirap, so Yadeton Jones. Guys, the Sanjay Tanjay do the Tambone, Sambata, Zewa, the Shirap, Lasso, the Raches and those. Now the Sarvati Mebaji, so Drogum, the Malan, Nuba, Sam Matado, the Yadeton those, Yadetan Jones. What a thing, yes, Haji say the Samjum Machapa, the Yundi, Samjum Machapa, getting the Yude, Sanjay the Comante, not so simply take a drop to those. Guys, and the drop and Mazando, sound of Masola those. 산지마 송샤고 다 랑그런 것도 냥즈랑와 이마 있나 다나 맞아는 것이 변도 총바지 있나 너무 맞아 때지 여가 있나 어다나 총지 여가 이마 있나 다지 개성으로 봐지 소소지 매조세나 그 맞아지 여러 대나지 되는 맞어 안에 대신님 뭐 여바데 하고와 이마 있나 되네 안에 이제 랑은 매조세야 그아 무바다 쪼아지 안에 대 랑은 매조세나 레버 투지여가 그 소소소소의 이시죠. 아니 이제 상호여가. 이 상호대 야제도요. 아니 다다 얘네야. 아니 이제 산재기 연대에서 생기 나랑 속에 뇌를 요네야. 다다 마 뭐도 맞아는 말 되대요. 어떻게 수되듯이도 말해봐서야 되지. 되는 더 자세다. 또 맞아 타도라서 밖에 이제 녀몽도 남도 mambo ke de kya se tene nyom ba ti sa yong ba ki le mage ba pe pa kya le de so ke de kya se tene je ne ta ne ti de ba te so yang ta da je la ma ke nan te so ye te na ka shi uri jama na lower wa si so mo do te ha ko do wo che ma re ba se de cha se dang ta mo se ya ane mage ba le se tam bo mo do ba se ni tam je shi da sa ne de je ba se ye na lower 그 몸마시 되는 이제 나서 푸는 또가 로르게 나서 되는 성향 버리 근데 저것도 빵 촉촉 빵 롱롱 산재의 연대에서 야지 톱 촉촉 아니 이제 톱도 롱아 뭐도 jor촉촉지 나는 또 세진들이 봐 어떻게 하고 그러겠어 다 듣는 내가 때에서 거의 많이나 나도 건강한 배도하고 있는데 근데 동이 건 생명호 건세지 나는 또 매가지 건도 보면도 그 생근내로 가려야 봐야나 때 그때는 반 녀바야도 검다라는 어떤 데는가 저 디나는 이제 숨어야지
So here we can say that the Jewel Ornament of Liberation of Gampopa is probably the first text in Tibetan Buddhism of the Sages of the Path genre of literature. And in that Stages of the Path text, the Jewel Ornament of Liberation of Gampopa, the very beginning, the first chapter of the text is called The Cause, the Buddha Nature. So, of all of those subjects, why would he show the Buddha nature first? Because if you want to attain Buddhahood, you might ask the question, can I actually attain this Buddhahood? Is there some way that I can do it? And so, in order to gain the confidence that you can do that, in order to understand that you have the capacity or the capital, you have that substance that's needed to accomplish that. So in the first chapter then, he said that sentient beings have this seed of enlightenment, this Buddha nature, and that everyone has that from the very beginning, that everyone has that potency and potential. So now, if you apply some efforts, you can improve upon that which is your very nature being love, wisdom, and so on. You have that potency and you have that seed. So now you have that confidence that you are able to improve upon those qualities. And so you have that confidence that you are able to accomplish that state and all of those unimaginable qualities of Buddhahood. You know that you can actually accomplish it because you understand then from this beginning chapter that you have that seed of enlightenment. So, for example, with a salesperson, a business person, if they have the capital, if they have the investment and the capital to begin doing business, then they will gain the confidence to actually engage in their business. And so understanding that we have that capital, that we have that seed of enlightenment, will give us the belief and the enthusiasm to actually engage in the practice. And we know that there is actually a potential for us. We will have that belief that we can actually attain that result. And we know that the qualities of Buddha are already part of the fabric of our minds, but they are obscured. So what are they obscured by? They're obscured by this ignorance. and they're obscured by the karmic imprints that have been made as a result of our afflictions and conceptual mind. So then there's a key point about what these obscurations are that's given in the Uttara Tantra. And there's a line in the Uttara Tantra that says, all these stains are adventitious and temporary. So they're not part of the fabric of our minds. The fabric of our minds is Buddhahood. But we are temporarily or adventitiously confused or mistaken. And so the point of letting us know that these stains are adventitious and temporary is that they're letting us know that they are very easy to purify, that they're very easy to rid ourselves of, and that the qualities of Buddhahood are very easy. The attainment or the manifestation of those Buddhahood, these qualities of Buddhahood, are right at our fingertips. So we need to know that. And if we know that, then that's a great benefit to our meditation. Because what we're doing then, we know that we're not meditating on something that we don't have. We're meditating on that nature that is our very nature, that is something we already possess. That's
제조기 제 무지대 아니 맞죠?네. 답되네. 남주는 저 니네가 초와가 초가 이제 냥네 그거네. 마송이. 답대인데 담보 토랑니 세 두죠 말나 또주가서 남도 수절 무지 냥네 산데 대망아 약세 되니 저거 다니 세 손을 대주 손에. 답대서 야 마송.
Okay, so we finished then the main body of the instruction of creation and completion, and now we're moving into the section which is the putting this into practice in your day-to-day life, some advice about that. So the first verse says, don't bother with examination of dreams when awakening at dawn, and all the other methods of welcoming discursive thinking. Resting within mindfulness during eliminated practice, the brilliance and murkiness of today's awareness will separate out.
답대서인데 답난지 거는 나도 제 냐는 존주신 게 임바이나 이제 뭐 토란 토마에 야랑 용가 깔라 이제 나나 말랑까지 송송세도 다 람산네 तरंग네 다 쇼자 가린 통게티 레카 가리 레게티 가리조게티 딘지 삼노 마타모세 다 야랑 차고게 욕라 디니 남준 gomjade nyani what the nang so so san that the nyamba de yak ba yina then the nyen gang de ti niba do te ki then ni san to so ke pa ni sen ni je na bo la so ba nyong do tong ani je san ki gom ki ani je tin ni ke japat so ani ya je ren do ba what the ni je cha de so ni so ni de then nam je ya je dan na so ji ta chuba ji yimba go ne 쇼과야 라운와데 녀마지 응고주가 되와 데니지 인데 참마지 개와 응고주야 대하제 비치모레샤 야랑데 니제 잠로운동 아니제 잠로 senji 그래서 넘반동 되네 된다고 동안 니제 잠로 senji 그래서 그동 때서 서로 이제 마 냐미세 되네 야라모 건조 손데 쳐봐 되네 니제 다 녀마 감보데 되나 그지 강토도기 이제 전시 바이오스는다 개와지 조베인스 다들 녀마 감몰지 컨트롤당 이제 진짜라서 녀몽 받아서 녀처도 동이 사바 아니 이제 선 펜쇼 뭐 진짜 세야 돼 이렇게 참고하는데 대대 녀마지 쇼바 되는 이제 담자지서 더바이 마이나 대 아니 이제 녀마 찍라 서로 생길때 아니 이제 담자다 전바 뒤떡대기 아니 펜도 전부 요리 받지
So normally, if you're a person who is putting efforts into their practice, when you arise in the morning, then you shouldn't immediately start thinking about what dreams did you have, and what are you going to eat for breakfast, and what work do you need to do today, what jobs do you have today. But as soon as you get up, you should try to apply yourself in meditation, even just for a brief period. And if you do, then the potential or the potency of that will continue throughout your entire day. allowing you to have less and less thoughts and afflictions, and helping to increase the vastness of your pure awareness. And generally, just generally for Dharma practitioners, when you get up in the morning, it's very important to start off with some virtuous practice, to start your day virtuously. So to get up and recite refuge and bodhicitta, and to practice the meaning of those, to supplicate, to make offerings, and then to make some kind of commitment that throughout your day you're going to do your best to maintain yourself with carefulness, mindfulness, and attentiveness. And if you can do that, if you can make this kind of commitment and also have that potency of that commitment and the potency of that awareness, then that will help you throughout your entire day. Let's
참참스 땡들런도 쇼바야 란드니타 드런지 선바지보면도 세대로 야 가지에는지 야 란운드니지 다 콩로라고 당데 니몸 제대로 란지 용도 니몸 마만도 당 진지겠다 소소게 칼렌다고 되니까 슈긴다고 되니까 단 되니까 칼 라포르타 근데 이제 여바이마이나다 쇼바야 란나 두수 kacha kashi na kama kashi na de tusu rungtong na cheba mando tamu jirla ma konjo ga aji sundar mana se tene te tsaka soso gom jab tenji se bayin bayin na tati nima ji ka sankha na ya pe jibo chakde tada ji simba jibo me ba san kozo tobo ane ji san kungto da soba je yung bayin na te ku ranjin ka ane ji ma shia toba lo.
So some people, right when they arise in the morning, they immediately start having this feeling of depression, and they're having some anger, and it's just naturally coming. Maybe it's the some leftover feeling from the day before or whatever. So if this is happening, in particular, if this is happening, then it's really important, even if it's just for a few moments or for a few minutes, that when you get up, you spend some time supplicating to the three jewels and the Guru, to reflecting on refuge and bodhicitta. And if you can do that, then it'll really help you to maintain a happy attitude throughout your day, and naturally kind of carry on with you throughout your day.
자진배 동원종을 고지 시반다 전시 바유 니다 마더는 니몽 남자 이시 첨보죠 게거는 옌거 개월주로 무치도 남편네 그 템블라도 템바메나 남편메데 임바tam지 펜도 제함이 태가 태근 리시 지진 그 교남거는 바유 템바는 토왕이던 담면도 본다 어떤 소문데
Not understanding rejection and acceptance, lack of devotion and dharma, careless compulsive behavior, and excessive afflictive emotion, if these four are present, faults and downfalls will fall like rain. It is as if the four trapdoors to downfalls are wide open, but if you maintain cautious, mindful awareness, even the afflictive emotions will turn into great wisdom. What need to mention that all else becomes virtue? All the essential points of daily life applications are held by mindfulness. Without mindfulness, you won't even remember these applications, and their mere existence is of no benefit whatsoever. You must proceed directly with a direct attitude.
But tambo de tonganyo go je sitine sondo de ta namjen na so ke jela niba ta control la so ba nyomo ba ke chonda niba nyowa ki ne go je yore sondo de ta te go je bote tambo na 마시바당 세대 고도
거기도라
다 빠난데 미시바 아니 다 검라서 발 되냐메바 아니 남주에 이제 다 고송벨에 파미가는 쇼와 근데 이제 다 뉴몬도 남도 마와 어따 대지보대 나 이제 좀더 니번 용화께 고지에서는 들리고 송여레스
So there are 4 causes of downfall for us to fall into many different negativities, negative emotions, anger, etc. And those are the first, which is ignorance or not knowing. It means not knowing what we should be accepting and rejecting. And the second is a lack of devotion in the Dharma, a lack of interest. The third is not being careful with our actions of body, speech, and mind. And last is having an excessive amount of thoughts and afflictions.
나도 센터도 지 밤이 나면 거는 풀송아. 근데 이제 뉴몬도 남도 망보 다때 이해돼. 나서 그 일을 여봐 이마이나. 지용네 이제 취연 여고 이제 냐니 두고 말이나 아니 이제 나봐 gond도 이제 이마이나 양. 근데 gond이하고 제고 말이지. 아니 대전 맞을 밖에 다 소소 그 일은 남주 아니 이제 되게 니바다 좀 아니 이제 용하고 그 이해라고 이제 된지 되지. 다때 방을 세발라 아니 메시바가 님볼라 아니 나서 법양고도와 다 검이바이네 검시고 검제도 시 란도르네 시 근데 마우바가 님볼라 더녀고 뭐바 검네 다 존주도 더녀도 뭐바스 추 가래도가 이메야 추도 더녀도 뭐바스 근데 남주 덴바다 지지 바유스나 가버지 밤이 그 님볼라 이제 바유스나 소소를 짓다 gomyenare chunyane imbayinare lunga yila ne che so ke ma te gondo o zabzab se na ne che te payu te jela tin go yi ne che nyumong to ma ne tidnyen bola ne dochong chuchi la so batang ne che nyumong ge nyemo tin nyumong nyono to o ta tenri je imbayina ta gomle chude ne tin chama yabu je yongre.
So if we're talking specifically about meditation, then we can apply these 4 causes to why one would not have success in meditation. So the first one would be not knowing how to meditate. The second would be having no enthusiasm or interest in meditation. The third would be not having any carefulness about that meditation. And the fourth would be being caught up in distractedness of your thoughts and emotions. So this will cause a problem with any type of Buddhist practice, but especially in meditation that we're discussing here. So then the antidotes to these 4 are the not knowing then would be to study how to meditate or to study whatever subject of Buddhism you're ignorant about. And the lack of interest then, one would have to apply some diligence, one would have to gain some enthusiasm for that. And then the lack of care or carefulness, one needs to apply oneself in being careful, in being more mindful and careful of their practice. And then for having many afflictions and many thoughts, one should apply the individual antidotes for thoughts, but also work towards having smaller desires and more contentment. And this is important for any Dharma practitioner on these points. And particularly as an antidote to these, the aspects of mindfulness, conscientiousness, and carefulness are really important.
다리 건드시가 난지기
나도 이제 생군내로
때 한지 얘네야 이제 고쳐요 말씀.
나도 이제 두초
망치지
때
이제 출발은 나의 거반도
별로 많이 말해. 대인도 또 남준 전시 바이오스 모델 뇌의 때나 전에 다다 아니 검여 보면
아니 이제 출발은 나도 가서 봐 영화기
동안 용하기
고 예보때
마빵나 빈님보 또 다다
데려도 담보 소비양
아니 미시바가 님보나 아니
소비양
네 추다 되니 안에 다다네
바요
네 이제 뇽몽 같은 마빵하게 님보 왔다 때
이제 남주 아도 소화가 tul 때도
So if we have these three, mindfulness, conscientiousness, and carefulness, then even if some afflictive thought arises, afflictive emotion arises, then we will be able to put that into practice and liberate that into wisdom. And if we don't have these three, mindfulness, conscientiousness, and carefulness, then we will not be able to meditate well. And even though the nature of our mind is Buddhahood, it will not serve us as Buddhahood, because we will spend most of our time in distraction and confusion and thought. So if we can rely upon these three, it's really important in our day-to-day lives to rely upon these three and to abandon these four gates of mistakenness and confusion by applying their antidotes, which were study for not knowing or misunderstanding, and applying effort and interest for having no devotion or enthusiasm, and being careful for carelessness, and applying the particular antidotes for thought and affliction. So these are very important pieces of advice for us in our day-to-day lives.
자동 오와 공부 뒤쪽장 조의 공부
자동 오와 공부 뒤쪽장 조의 공부 건조 지진 번도의 참 예주 강도 라는라서 진된 형가 초월은제 시와적 게라 조 자불라면 예미고 바보보가 언제 칸주죠 제공 카시진 유문 대다 치진 착세 매각지 자동 탐만 통이 교미때 제주 초좀 콜론 저와 있는서 어떤 일성화래
I didn't read the last two lines. So relying on cautious attention in all activities is like having Shakyamuni himself as your constant companion. Consecrate food and drink as nectar with Om Ahom before lunch, and before lunch recite the brief or extensive verses of the Sutra of Recalling the Jewels. Imagine your own body as a deity, and in the crown, throat, and heart centers, the 100 wrathful deities, knowledge holders, and peaceful deities, and meditate mainly on inseparability with your source guru. Imagining your pores filled with knowledge holders, dakinis, and so on, like a bursting bag of sesame seeds. In a state of deliberate mindfulness, partake without attachment. It doesn't matter if you see it as ordinary food and drink, whatever you eat will become a sacred feast.
자동소네 마 나도 남주 다 자동 나초가 되는지 초중 걸로 생질라는 란데 제조 되는 소리를 되는데다 아니 저 자동 가리지 사와 가까이 매이네요 아니 저 오마함 도선 되게네 담보 마다바된 소장 되네 아니 저 도선 되래 가다나서 이제 자동 같은 도선 공 대대 원선트는 아니 저 소비 제라세의 제가 단지 생각 진행하는 자동 같은 때 대네 저 초중 걸로 생질라 근데 라운드 때다 단계는 이제 제로점 걸을 때는 공 다때 라운드 제로점 걸 담보 임바나 인기 아니 이제 소소기다 예단 단데 담바를 겨라서 먹기 아니 예단 샤와다 초 아니 이제 라마 예단 혹하루 추정나서 봐 자선나서 되는 공 어떻게 되는 그 공네 되네 이제 자동 야 사와가 깔라야 아니 이제 자동나 화장게 자신나서 봐 맞이가 그거는 진바다 진바 맞이가 그거네 그 초중 콜로도 미나 되네 이제 야 정거잖아서 줘봐 la muina ne tendi sena ta zadam go gris tene ne te namjin to bai mai ne te ta ko jo jidin la so ko don da ba ta teni mata bai mai ne ko to ko jo le che ba tene ki chi chi te da ha jang ki siba chembo me ba ne te te da du la so ba cho ju ko lo jin la na tene zawa ga chen cho ju ko lo the sun tene we ya che ba wo ta tene go gris sum ba de.
So here we're talking about when we're eating and drinking, that we can take this on the path by blessing the food and taking it as a Gana Chakra feast offering. So when we eat, we recite these 3 syllables of Om Ahom and purify the impurities of these food, turn them into pure offerings. And from those 3, shoot out lights which invite the deities to come and bless the feast. And what we need to see then is that our body is this mandala of the deities, but it is what it always was. That is the actual nature of your mind. You're not just visualizing it. So we see then the 100 peaceful and wrathful deities, the 3 roots of the Lama, Yidam, and Khandro. And when we're eating then, we should be eating and drinking without any great attachment to those objects, and make this all as an offering to the mandala. And if we can, if it's convenient to do so, then we should recite this sutra of recalling the jewels, and if not, then just maintain this as an offering and bless it with this amrita, and consider that your meal, your food and beverages then are a Gana Chakra offering feast.
남절진 람은 남절당 산초 산정 제정 조람 속 강도 공부 람이샬롱 숨바데 근데 남절양 만조진 초가가 초 남절진 안에 목을 남은 남절 써야 됐다 내 사칭다 조킨라 소바기니 이제 생중모 또바세발라 아니 이제 소소기 대바다 목을 근데 람마가 생각 다 저속 빼 메시바가 짜친 뭐 있나 근데 이제 이메인데 남주인지 남은 남주도 그냥 내세요. 근데 더 나진 기타 산조그 sem세나 그 상바로 인게 아니 다 생지 진동이 그 산조 공부도 건데 와게네 그 산조그 sem 어때 나진 기 아니 남주인 되네 소소기 이제 가동 대주 되네 제는 조런 어때 더서 아니 이제 개와는 배야때 마음서 이제 선전에 로또 버세바 하진 그 첨부 인발이 숨바래
Other applications for daily living are Guru Yoga, Bodhisattva activities, creation and completion stage practices, and so on. You can receive whatever meditation you desire from your Guru. So then more instructions on taking this on the path then, in the Mahamudra and Great Perfection traditions, then we say that Guru Yoga is the path of devotion, and it is in order to attain realization of that nature of mind. Faith, devotion, and the blessings of the Guru are extremely important. So we can practice this Guru Yoga, as well as bodhicitta, meditating on love, compassion, and having that motivation to work for the benefit of others. And then whatever we're doing, whether we're reciting texts, doing creation and completion, recitation of mantra, etc., applying ourselves in these virtues, all of these are going to be helping us get nearer to that realization of the true nature. Bless.
남주에 속사 드장 전에 아니지다 생각나는 남주 왔다 딩길었디나 다 나서야 제들이 따와서 또와서 차진데서 네버터 참고가 되는지 차비에 되는지 이메인데 사실 남주 네네 소소기 누나이 섬기다 get up the pang 소사 대장 바버다니 지다 소소기 자와당 주바글람 더소는 이제 대바다 뭐 손데 왔다 때는 그냥 이제 베바세 바이메나 나네 저바 단 똑바 초긴 잘 수만하지다 아니 제다 소남 템보제 사토바 이마이나 소남 덴베 아니 다 감성도 가리지 추던 직진이 삼바가 동 가리니 마이나야 아니 제때니 로터바 이마인데 그는 나는 저 지금 다도 내가 그 똑바세 발라야 아니 제때니 남제네 아니 나는 저 제때니 그 나는 배고에 말이스.
So in the Mahamudra and Great Perfection traditions, in order to realize that ultimate truth of emptiness, the main conditions to be fulfilled are the gathering the accumulations, purification of obscurations, and the blessings of the Guru. So these are things that absolutely must be complete. And so we should be purifying ourselves and gathering the accumulations with our actions of body, speech, and mind, and supplicating to both our root and lineage lamas. And if we put application, if we apply ourselves in these, then as it said, if we purify our obscurations, then realization will naturally shine through. And also it said that those who have merit will accomplish whatever they need, both in a worldly and dharmic sense. So we really need to apply efforts in these aspects of the path.
드르제 마타 사케 동나와 냐데 취나 시와 동바니 데제타와 카다 사잘라 자나 토마 초만 캬마탄 요게 캄버만 취진된 이제도 쩌바 카다 사잘라 타퓨 사자지 본데나 저르 진조 예나 문제인데 콩고 홍마 메지 투베송 시티니 소마리스.
All that is composite is impermanent. All that is corrupt is suffering. Transcending misery, all phenomena are peace and emptiness. These are the four seals that distinguish the genuine Buddhist view. Offering food cakes to Jambala, a pinch of food to the plunderer, and water to the constricted throat and blazing mouth spirits. These are the four seals that distinguish genuine Buddhist activity. If you uphold these 8 seals of view and action, you are a follower of victorious ones. But if not, you are not a disciple. This was taught by Shakyamuni.
tattinane tambo ane je tawakada ka saje je sidita namba sanje ba na zo ke ma drubzano de ne chu je sin ta sanje ke chu ju pung je tu je dang de so dom sha ba yin ba yin na tawakada saje je ga nam do ye le sum de de tambo de je te da tam je mata ba sum de tam de je ki chu ane je no ju ki ane chu kare je yin ba yin ya ane matabare tam matabate na ani je chawa keje ka mataba se ta na so ji ne no ju chu kare mai na ya ta keje ba ni ta dan jola ne ya ani je jenga to de ba ani chawa ani keje ma mataba se ne so ni de ta ra ko jenja mataba se ta na ju na so de mataba se she de ne ma de de je chu kare je mai na che jevan tama chewa tene ani ten dupa tama darwa ote tenggi da ta je tene sanje ka ma son sumana yin ki ne duje ka chita ni mata be ni ba ani shibo guri.
So these 4 seals of a Buddhist theory are things that we should be practicing as Buddhists. And if you take all of the 84,000 teachings of the Buddha and condense them, they can all be contained within these 4. So the first is that all composite things are impermanent. So whatever things we may speak of, whether we're speaking of the container universe or the beings within that universe, are impermanent. With impermanence as well, we can discuss 2 types. What is called the momentary impermanence, which is the subtle impermanence, which means that from moment to moment, all phenomena are changing and disintegrating. Or we can talk about the coarse impermanence of a continuity, which is often what we're discussing when we say impermanence, which is that whatever composite phenomena is born will eventually die. Whatever comes together will be separated. So we need to understand then that all composite things are impermanent, and that's the first seal.
Then sake tamje donghawa sidita sake kurwa tada nga zo chi kamson ruwa ruki huju tsama ne ta yang donghar ka raji yang ne je ta ta ruwa ka donghar ka raji yang ne je chaban de ka donghar ta donghar so mo kan ya ruwa manyong ba ki ne nga zo chi kamson ruwa ru ko de ba ki senji che ge yo ma ri 근데 이제 따따다 좀 걸어 가서 주 대다 단지 조건용 된 거겠지 봐. 내가 이제 동안 된 거. 뭐 되는 거 아니지.
So then all contaminated things are suffering. So contaminated things or corrupt things then refer to any aspect of samsara, both the environment and the beings of the six realms. So there are no beings in these six realms of samsara who have not experienced or are not experiencing the suffering of suffering, the suffering of change, or the suffering of compounded phenomena. Let's task.
then de ba shiwa ta tabasaya. 다 대에 동안에 시와가 아니 말이 숨말이 되는데 다 tarabala 동하다 아니지 저 근정된 내가 동하대 봐 어째 참아마 세바르와 되는데 내가 용몽바다 뒤집어가 동하 참 아니 시와가 아니지 되는데 tarabasaya 돼 아니지 시와다 내가 잡는 거 어떻게 되게 그런지 말이야.
So then nirvana is peace. So this liberation of nirvana then has no suffering. It has neither the cause, which is the source of suffering, nor the result, which is the truth of suffering or the truth of the cause. Both of those have become exhausted in this state of liberation into nirvana. So nirvana then is liberation, it's peace and bliss.
Demi me inde ta ngando de demba je ke tenne ta korwa ki chu de da tamde ane donga ke jumde ni bo de de yodis jo ta le da nyong ba de donga ke demba wata tela ta donga ke demba da kunjo ke demba sin korwa ke jumde ni bo imare tane ta de gopa ke demba tan lang ke demba se de gopa se de tarba ko ro garisna ani je donga tamje phang gopa del sewa del tarwa imare ani di lang de garisna ta na zo ji ma dena ne che song cha ba nan jin ki ani ke tin de gong ga ba la so ba ki ne je tin de ke lam je de ba ku chu de zo tin de so ma yare de de ta nyangin de ba ki 제로 탈바는 아니 고바세야 고바가 된다 아니 탈바가 이겨되는 남제 된바스 때 데마지 송도 또 뒤때네 다 나한조기 아니지 나주 도야기 다 타동무여 쪼 나오때 가래리스는 나한조 그 탈바토바가 치도 도야래 다때 가래세는 탈바 더고 해야리신다 나한조 된 코로와는 내 데바 임바이나 네 코로와기 지가는 줄라서 그 동안 네 아니지 코로와 토마 매번에 다다 다동양 나눠서 지금 코로와를 맡았네 제와는 제와 자타는 세나네 되게 동학이라지 뭐다 되게 타토야 말이지 나 나도 동한도 해요 말어 근데 이제 이마인데 다 탑가래 열으시나 다 탑바가 탑 아니 이제 담부취 투상권 좀 세나 아니 이제 타도 다 동한에 타와 아니 이제 뭐고 대봐 아니 다디나는 년에는 되고 시와서야 뭐다 대 토고 그랬어 대 토바 임바이나 되네 동아다 뉴몽 차 세바 아니 이제 년에는 되고 세와 때 시와다 대화가 난지 임바리스 뭐지 디디그 때문에 당나도 이제 denje landor 때문에 되는 위험이 요리 되는 디그나네 따따다니 따오까다 그 사리지에 세야 그나네 사기 탄데 동하와 영이는 데와 시와 세야 되는 위 소마이 말에
So we can then discuss this in terms of the Four Noble Truths, that all samsaric phenomena are contained within the causes and results of suffering, which are the truth of the origin of suffering and the truth of suffering itself. And then we also have the causes and effects of liberation, which are contained in this one of the 4 marks of a Buddhist theory, which is nirvana is peace. So we have the cause and result of peace. The peace itself is the truth of cessation. That truth of cessation is the pacification and separation, pacification of suffering and separation from all states of suffering. And in order to obtain that, we need the cause, which is the truth of the path. So the truth of the path contains all the aspects of the different levels of meditation and the levels of stages of paths of Buddhist practice. So we talk about the causes and effects of suffering as well as the causes and effects of liberation. And so the main object of our focus or our main ambition as Buddhist practitioners is to obtain this state of liberation. And why is that? It's because if you're a person who is in samsara, you are now experiencing and have been experiencing since beginningless time, the sufferings of birth, aging, sickness, and death. And if you don't apply yourself to become liberated now, then we will continue endlessly for hundreds and hundreds more lifetimes, continuing in this cycle of suffering. And no one wishes for suffering. So we should apply ourselves in the methods for liberation, which would be hearing, contemplating, and meditating, and that's like the truth of the path. And then finally, we can obtain that truth of cessation, which is the peace of nirvana. And in that peace of nirvana, we have this state of peace, clarity, separation from suffering, and bliss. So this is the way that we take up the acceptance and rejection of the 4 Noble Truths, and by accepting the path and cessation and rejecting the causes and effects of suffering. And so that's how this is related to these 4 marks of a Buddhist theory in terms of contaminated things being suffering and nirvana being peace. That's
추탐제 동반이 숨바리다 존재의 뒤바게 추대다 단지 아니지 땡땡 여러분 경화기 아니지 나와서 또 바기 동나 아니지 덴버트 법면도 아니 강자기 다음에 봤다 추가 다음에 봤대 아니지 때 동반이 그라니 바리 숨바리 되는데 다타와 가다가 사제에서 오늘 때 나한테 넘버 3에 바기 다 추가 마이제라고지 So
then the final mark is that all things are emptiness. So everything that is collected within subject and object duality of samsara is merely a interdependent or dependently arising appearance, but does not exist in reality, does not truly exist. It is the selflessness of persons and the selflessness of phenomena, which is this emptiness. And this is the 4th of our 4 marks of a Buddhist theory, which are like the basis or the ground of all Buddhist teachings. And then these offering food cakes to Jambala, a pinch of food to the plunderer, and water to the constructed throat and blazing mouth spirits. These are the 4 actions. So if you uphold these 8, then you are a follower of Buddhism. So we should apply ourselves in the practice of these 8. That's all. I was thinking to just finish this morning, but I think we're going to have a little bit more need for questions and some more additional explanations. So I think we'll continue. Tsulnam betini sumyen segube la. So there's not much. There's not much text left, but to make sure that we have time to go through that and to still have some time for questions, I think we should continue in the afternoon.